30-second chip.
Hello. Yes, we are live, Nikki. Hello.
Thank you.
We are
Hi.
having I'm having a great pleasure of interviewing Nikki about her spiritual awakening journey. So I'm so pleased. Hi. And I guess we
Hi.
will just go straight to it, to question number one, which is about what was your first spiritual experience?
Okay. When it was in about nearly only 3 years ago, and basically I walked into what I thought was a management consultancy type of weekend, and it ended up with a spiritual bent to it. And they did this spiritual sort of initiation thing on the Saturday night, and it absolutely blew me open. So from not knowing anything about spirituality at all to suddenly sort of oh, the whole shebang, really. I was zooming around the top of the room, looking down on people's heads. I could see
Wow.
whether they were spiritually aware. I saw flashes of the future. I could see who was ill, who wasn't. I could see energy around the place in different sections, in different colors. Oh, the whole shebang. So yeah, it was about 2 or 3 years ago. Yes.
That's brilliant. What was your most profound spiritual experience? That
Sorry,
sounds
I
quite
just wanted,
profound.
yeah, just going back, where I went to this place, it was called the Essence of Being, so it was really cool. Anyway, right, okay, next one.
What was the most profound spiritual experience?
Okay, so this is a spiritual experience that I have. Only one person knows about this, so it's going to be the second time, and saying it to the world. Okay, so this is one of my most profound experiences. I've actually had quite a few, and it's actually made up of three experiences. And it happened when we were having a meditation with two people, and basically I see a lot of things, but I had never seen Jesus before. Okay, so this first one, I saw Jesus, and it was very profound, very, very sort of strong experience. Then a couple of days later, this was all over one of the Christmases, and a couple of days later, I then had a meditation when there was just two of us. So and then I went to this incredible place. It was sort of, I can't even explain it, but it was sort of empty. Okay, it was empty, yet it wasn't empty, and it was really, really strong image. And well, it wasn't. It was I was just in this place, and above it, when I was coming in and when I was coming out, there was this eye. The eye of, I think it's the eye of Horus, I think it's called. And basically the person who, and I was saying, oh God, I thought, because usually when things are sort of empty, you think something bad, but apparently it was explained to me that this eye meant that this was God. This was a representation of God. Okay, so the next experience I had a few days later on my own. So it went three people, two people, and then mine on my own. And this was when I was sort of floating in this space, and there was this amazing sort of clouds and wind blowing, and this white owl. Okay, and that represented the Holy Spirit. So these three sort of visions and things that I had in these three meditations over Christmas was really, I mean, each one was really, really profound on its own, but together, I had no idea that I was going to be having each one, and that's what I had as each one. So that was one of my most profound experiences.
Wow. Was it difficult or uncomfortable in any way, in some way?
Well, my whole process, I've been very lucky, and it wasn't difficult or strange. I just seemed to accept sort of everything that happened. The most difficult, I think, was when I actually had a spiritual test done by Spirit. And on a couple of occasions, I had to have these fights with we call them attachments, okay, because the negative spirits, the negative things that happen. So I had these very intense sort of fights with them because I had to learn to protect myself, and that's what happened.
Wow. Spiritual protection again.
Yeah.
What are the benefits you have had from your spiritual experience?
Well, not obviously, but especially recently, when you get to a certain level, you get this internal peace inside you, and it doesn't go away, which is just absolutely incredible. And if you knew what I was like internally before I was spiritual, it was just like, oh my God, volcanoes quit here, there, and everywhere. And now, even when I'm going through some sort of bad patches in certain areas, I've always got this inner peace, which allows me to, to get over anything, really. So
Great.
that's my main thing.
Great. And have you had a teacher, a spiritual teacher, or maybe teachers?
Well, it depends what you mean by spiritual teachers. I've had, I've listened to quite a lot of them. One of my main spiritual teachers was actually Wayne Dyer, who's actually dead. And but he was the very first one that connected with me from the spirit world, because that's where I sort of did it. And the second one who connected with me from the spirit world was actually Sadhguru. And he is my guru, and he's absolutely fabulous. I know we were talking about him, and his work is just absolutely phenomenal. But how I actually connected with him and how he became my guru was I was actually in my room, just sort of, I was nearly asleep, and his energy form came into my room and started talking to me from the corner of the room. So he was actually there, and it was really, really cool. But and also, when I was called to go to India and go to his ashram, I never thought I would go to his ashram, but I was called there because I don't know, for some sort of reason, what spirit's like, and well, obviously to go to the Dhyana Linga and the places that were very spiritual, but that's for another time, otherwise I'll go way over.
Yes, and we need to keep it within the 9 minutes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so what spiritual advice would you give to somebody starting out in their spiritual journey?
Oh, just to learn about protection and also spiritual grounding and things. That's very important.
Absolutely. And what advice would you give to someone who is further along in their journey?
To really understand who really knows what they're talking about and who doesn't, because there are so many people in this spiritual area who pretend to know an awful lot more than they do know, and some of them are basically fake. There are really lots of fabulous teachers out there.
Great. What key lesson has stood out for you?
Well, my key lesson is patience.
Great, a great one. And final question: what is your favorite spiritual practice, and how has it contributed to your spiritual awakening?
I'm about the worst one to talk about this, because I don't actually really do spiritual practice as such. In fact, I'm always getting told off because I'm not meditating enough. But I do meditate sometimes, and I enjoy it, especially when there's a group and things. But I'm actually really connected, when I'm out in nature, which is most of the time, and when I'm usually connected with spirit in some way a lot of the day. So that's how I do my sort of spiritual practice.
That's amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's the end of the questionnaire and our interview. Thank you so much, Nikki.
All right. You take care. All right. Thanks.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.